Adam in Power Rangers. The Black Ranger, and then green, and black again. I did a few seasons, Mighty Morphin, Zeo Turbo, and I did I came back in space and Overdrive. I started doing voiceover work a long time ago with Trigun. I was bashing Trigun. Cool, you guys still like it? Awesome. And Kaneda and Akira. See, nobody liked that one. Kiba and Wolf's Rain, Ichigo and Reach, Illusion Code Geass. Some of the more recent stuff, I guess, would be the Persona 4, if you're into that. I am Yukio in Blue Exorcist, which is, I guess, pretty new. Oh, well, you better get a chance to watch it. We just finished it up, and it's actually pretty good. It's a fun show. It is. It is funny at times, yes. You know how like Bleach can sometimes be funny, but mostly is like killing demons or something. Sasori in Naruto, whatever else. If you don't know anything
Devil May
else,
Cry.
What? Huh?
Devil May Cry.
Nero and Devil May Cry 4. Which is, somebody will ask me this question, but I'm just telling you right now, that was probably one of my favorite roles as Nero, Devil May Cry 4. Isaiah? Yeah, Isaiah from Emil, Renton, Guy, yes, I'm in Street Fighter 4. Yang, right? Yes, Yang. Anyhow, do you guys have any questions? And we'll just start doing some regular answers to your questions, or I can tell stories. If you like stories, I can tell you true stories of me being an idiot. Would you like to hear some of those?
Yeah!
All right, I'll tell you a story. And if you've heard this story, because I feel like I tell it all the time. But if you've heard it, just shut up. Until the very end and just be like, yay, I like that story. So anyways, all right, so I always have to think about like where I am. Like some places, freeways aren't exactly the same, like in Mexico, but here I'm sure your freeways are very similar to ours. But you know, when you exit the freeway, the off-ramp, there's usually like a stop light or something, and then you can make a left under the overpass, right? Well, when I come home from work after doing any kind of like voiceover or whatever, I always have to take this exit ramp, and there's just a light there, and there's usually like a homeless guy sitting there with a sign asking for money. And I'm in my car, usually, obviously I don't jog to work because it's like miles away. Your ears just perked up on that. I don't know what that means. But it's very interesting. I'm not going to look at you now, that bothers me. Anyways, so I usually don't give money to the homeless guy because I'm like in my car. It feels weird, right? Because I'm like driving, you know? And I usually just don't pay attention to them or try to pretend like I'm singing a song or something. Like a douchebag would. But so anyways, this one day I exit the freeway, and it's a red light, and there's like 4 or 5 cars in front of me. And so I'm a good distance away from, I think you're an Inuyasha character possibly, right? Yes, okay, so I'm about like maybe here to there to the stoplight, right? So it's a good distance, you know, 4 or 5 cars. And behind me pulls this monster truck, and I can't see the person inside, but it's above me, and it's got tinted windows in the front, so I can't see if it's a woman, a man, or what, but it feels like an angry man. And I feel like as soon as that changes green, I better go, or he's gonna run me over. You know, I can just feel the pressure. And I've got the Ziploc bag that has carrots that I had left over from lunch, and I'm just scarfing down because I'm kind of hungry and bored. And so I'm like eating them, and I glance over where I usually see a homeless man there, and I see a homeless woman off to the side, you know? And I'm like, ah. And I'm from Texas, and so sort of south. And so my heart goes out to her, and I'm like, I should give her something, you know? This woman, you know, and homeless or whatever. So I felt bad, and I felt like I should do something. And in LA, if you've ever been there, you have to pay for parking everywhere. It's so stupid. And so my cup holders are filled with quarters, right? And so I just take these quarters and I shove them in the Ziploc bag because I'm like, oh man. And I like do it. It's like 2, 3 pounds worth of quarters. It's a really good amount of change, you know? Like she can change her life with this, you know? And so I'm feeling pretty good about like how much I'm gonna give her, because I'm like, I can get change later. So I roll down my window, and like I said, she's like a good distance away, and I put my hand out the window like this, and she sees this big bag of change. And so she has her sign, and she's like, oh, she puts her sign down, and she goes like this. I'm not gonna get out of the car and give it to you. What are you thinking? You know, it's just kind of weird. Like, what? You know, and then all of a sudden the light changes green. The cars in front of me take off, and because I feel this pressure already from behind me, I just start going because I'm like, oh, I better go. This guy's gonna kill me. And so I start going, and as I'm approaching her, I'm like, wait a minute, how's this gonna work out? I'm like now going 20 or 30 miles an hour, and I'm like, how am I gonna like hand this off to her? She's like a homeless woman, not a football player. She keeps like, oh, got it, thanks, you know? And so I'm like freaking out. I'm thinking, what if she holds on to the bag too long and pulls me out of the car and kills me? What if I hold on too long and she falls and trips and I run over her, and then the monster truck? And so I'm like freaking out, you know? And it's happening so fast, but like within a couple seconds. But then instantly I start thinking, okay, Johnny, you're a martial artist. All you need to do is focus your timing. You know? And so as I'm going 20, 30 miles an hour, I'm like, all I have to do is flick my wrist like this, and I'll watch it gracefully land into her hands. And so as I'm approaching her at this velocity, I'm like going like, you know, and I'm like, and right before I'm like, in my mind, I'm not saying this out loud like, and now, but I'm like, in my head, I'm like, and now, you know? And right as I flick my wrist up, time, for whatever reason, before tragedy happens, slows down. If you've ever been in any kind of accident or anything, you know, it seemed like forever, but it really did. I flicked my wrist like this, I was like, and now, and I watched as this 2-pound bag of quarters leaves my hand at 20 or 30 miles an hour and smacks her in the face. The bag rips open, quarters go everywhere, and her face was like, I mean, she was like, yay, like, I'm getting money, then like it did all that, and I could see everything, her jaw doing this thing, and her expression was like, yay, you know, and all I could do, like, in that split second was like, and I'm going so fast that I screech around the corner, you know, and it's an overpass, and there's no way I can get back to her and see if she's alive or anything, so I just kept going. And so I have no idea what happened to her. But this is a true story. Before that day, there's always been a homeless person there. After that day, never again. This is the truth. There has never been a homeless person after that day on that corner. And my theory is that the homeless people do talk to each other. They have like secret meetings under bridges and stuff. And I'm like, did you hear what happened to Sally? She's dead! Some guy killed her with quarters. And then a monster truck ran over her. No, so I felt like a douchebag that day. I know, that's what I get for trying to like help somebody out. Right. So don't give money to homeless people while driving your car, okay? There's a lesson there for everyone to learn. Slowly, there's a monster truck behind me. There's a life or death situation. I had to think fast. You know, I just think that homeless people standing on the corner where cars are should just be like quicker or something. You know? Because, I mean, I would think. Anyways, so that is a true story. You guys are still setting up. Am I just going to use this mic? Do you guys have any questions? Yes.
The British filler arc just ended, like not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, how far along are y'all on this whole defeating Izumicon, like in the dub?
I don't think I'm allowed to talk about it. I'm not allowed to talk about how far we are.
He could tell you, but then you probably have to go bonk
so. I don't know. I remember somebody talked about it before and got in trouble, so I'm not going to talk about it. You just have to wait and see, sonny boy. We're still working on it. I'll give you that much. We're still working on it, so yes. A weird question? Yes. What was it? I was in Alabama, and there's a group of girls off to the side, and they all stood up together because it was like Q&A, and they all stood up together and like, and then they're like, "Are you afraid of being raped by fangirls?" It's like,
Wow.
no. Alabama. Yes.
Where the wild things are.
Favorite Hollow Ichigo moment? Gosh, I don't know. I mean, the first encounter with Hollow Ichigo was kind of like the first full encounter when he was like fighting Byakuya was pretty cool. I can't see that far. Oh, Grimjaw is your favorite? What was that?
Fail.
I could. Maybe later-ish. Can I do it later-ish? Because, not now-ish, later-ish.
Oh.
Hollow Ichigo? Full Hollow Ichigo. Like when he's got the horns and stuff, that's the hardest. Because that's like all that. And I'm serious, that's what I do. And I just scream until I'm bleeding in the throat.
It's just like a crossover, like, if you're like in the full hall form going against her, what would you do if that was you
Going against who? The Predator? What would I do? Like, what would I do physically or as a voice? I would try to win? I'd be like, or something. I don't know. He'd be like invisible, and then I'd be like, and shoot a thing at him. Yes.
As the main character, you have to do a lot of yelling.
Yeah.
What hurt your throat, what hurt your voice
The most? The most. I mean, the only one that comes to mind is I got called in for this video game. A lot of times, like a game, they won't tell you what the title is or what you're playing because they want to keep it super top secret. And so I got called in, and they said, "Oh, we got this game. I want you to come in and just play a voice on it." I was like, "Okay, sure, whatever." And this was about the time when I was doing like Rent and stuff, you know, like a 7. So yeah, so I needed that. I'm the young voice, you know, so I needed that, right? And so I went into this game, and I'm looking at the script. I'm like, "So what am I doing?" He's like, "Oh, you're a goblin." I'm like, "Okay." And then you're like Goblin 15 or something, you know, and like looking through it. I'm like, are these words? Because is this English? Because it's all like vowels. It's all like, you know, and that's all it is. I'm like, and they're like, "Oh no, that's all it is. You're just gonna make up some noises and stuff and scream and stuff." And I'm like, "Okay, great." And so all it was just like, you know, whatever, doing all these things, a lot of screaming, and it's like, now you're being electrocuted, and now you're on fire, and now you're falling off a cliff, you know, and now you're exploding into a ball of something. And so there's a lot of screaming, and then after that session, I was like toast.